Hey everyone, such a pleasure to be here. And I'm quite excited that we're having this live stream. So, my name is Shagun. I'm the creator of Chakra UI. And with me here, I have Mark. I'll let him introduce himself. But one of the things we've been trying to do all this while, I think since last year roughly, is to try to maybe get on more live streams to share our thoughts and ideas and to sort of like work in public or learn in public together. So this is mostly just like our first attempt. So I'm really excited to see like how that works through. Hey, Mark, do you want to share some thoughts with everyone?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mark. I'm one of the maintainers of Chakra UI. And like Shagun said, I am very excited to be here this morning. We're going to do a couple of things together. We're going to triage some issues, write a little code, and also release the next version of all of our Chakra packages. So a couple pretty exciting things. Really happy that we're able to give you all a look into just a little bit of what we do in order to keep Chakra moving along, resolving issues and things like that.
Awesome. That's amazing. Okay, so I think today we have a couple of things on the agenda. I guess just we want to triage a couple of issues, just like Mark mentioned, and we'll try to see if there are any new features or PR review we have to do. And then we'll try to release a final version, like the new version of Chakra UI packages. We'll see how that goes. So Mark, why don't you drive the car?
Okay. All right. I can do the driving. Do you want to share my screen?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Cool. Okay, so we have 78 issues and 27 pull requests currently open. Do you want to look at issues or pull requests?
I guess like it depends. Pull request has been quite interesting, so I want to take a look at the most recent pull requests to see like what's happening there.
Okay, the custom theme from a gist.
Interesting.
Okay. Cool. So Tom has been working on the ability to apply your own custom theme to the Chakra Docs site so that you could see what your what the docs will look like using your theme. Allows you to, I guess, explore a little bit and see how this could look on a site that isn't your own.
Interesting. Yeah. Do you want? So let me share my thoughts. What I think about this quickly.
Okay.
I think this is an interesting feature. I mean, if you ask me, but like, I'm not sure if it's a feature that should be on like in Chakra UI's website itself. It looks really nice. I can see the clean pop over there. I can just like test, put my gist there. But it feels like some custom tool that should live somewhere else, not on Chakra UI's website. I could be wrong, but I mean, what do you think?
I think it's interesting. I don't. Wow, that is a huge link.
I'm sure it just missed one prop or something. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, I'm kind of torn. I like the idea of having a theme viewer that allows people to explore their own theme outside of the context of their site. I'm not sure about this approach to doing that, though. The gist is a nice way to be able to put your code somewhere else and be able to access it. I'm not sure how much use this would actually get, though, because it feels like quite a bit of effort just to, well, you're just creating a theme.js. I'm not sure. That's interesting.
Yeah, we have someone here that says that should be like a standalone web page, right? And I think I agree, because it's more like this is like a standalone feature that only this person seems to want, and I feel like maybe putting in some sort of like separate package or repo, or like some, just like you said, the Theme Explorer. So having some mini Theme Explorer and deploying that so other people can use. I mean, I think I'll be happy to add this to like the resources section of Chakra UI, or even talk a bit more about it on Twitter if it gets released. But I'm not sure. I think like adding this to Chakra UI itself to the doc seems a little bit like of an overkill for us.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to add myself as, actually, not as a reviewer. I'm going to add myself. I'm going to assign this to myself so I can respond when I have a little more time to give a little more detail about what we're thinking here, and we can see what Tom thinks of that. It's an interesting idea. I know he's done quite a bit of work on this PR and another previous PR related to that issue. I think this apply theme route is a similar idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was more of a page, but you could do the same kind of thing with a live editor. So yeah, we'll follow up on that.
Yeah, let's follow up on that. Yeah, that looks interesting. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we can continue on with PRs.
Yeah, let's take a look at a few more. Let's see.
Yeah, let's look at this form control PR. So closes 4270. Can't add custom variant to form control component. Let's see what that's about.
When trying to add custom variant to form control. Yeah, this has been like a pretty interesting like thing that I see people like request a lot. I'm not sure. Well, I think I have some ideas here. So some people, most of the time, people really want to theme the form control component itself. But I'd like to get a bit more context here. Is there some sort of like code sandbox or anything that shows? Yeah.
There is. If it will load, there is. Okay, so we can see he manually styled it here. See that styling, but using the themed version, there is no, most of it's not applied. Where's that theme? Yeah, the floating label theme. It's the same styles, but it's not actually applied.
Yeah, so I think this is happening because the form itself is a multi-part component. This is something we'd like to simplify anyway going forward because it can be quite confusing at first. But if you check the default theme, let's take a look at what that looks like. If you can maybe take me to the default theme of the form there. Yeah. Yeah. So here, you see that it has like multiple parts. So it has this required indicator and helper text. So when applying the theme there in Code Sandbox, you need to like specify one of these keys. So you cannot just like apply it there in the body of the variance object. You have to like select the part you want to apply that style to, right? So I'm not sure. It seems like it wants to apply this to the root container, if that's correct. Let's take a look at the Code Sandbox again. Let's see. So the first version has the manual version has the styles applied to the form control itself. Here, see this in line 20 all the way to 29. So it's applying the styles to the form control itself. And in line 39, where it says variant equals floating label, I assume that his expectation there would be that like these styles should be applied to the form control itself, right? So it wants to pass that down to the form control root. I'm not sure if he plans to add that to the input, just like Michael says here in the chat. Let's see. Can you scroll down a bit more? Let's see the Code Sandbox. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think because if you scroll up a bit, you see that the form input is used in both use cases. Scroll up.
Yeah, so he's actually
Yes.
attaching it,
Yeah.
wanting to attach it to the form control and not the
Exactly. Once you attach that to the form control, not the form input there. So um, it's interesting. I think most some components in Chakra UI, they have like a root key or a root part. So if you go back to the form control theme one more time, I think it's in your VS Code. Yeah. So one of the things we need to probably ask ourselves is this worth solving? Is this like an issue, a valid issue worth solving, or is this like a one-off use case where like you could literally style yourself um, directly? We could. That's one way to think about it. Another way to think about it would be, should we add a root key to this parts array here and just like connect that in form control component? So, what are your thoughts here?
I'm not sure. It seems potentially like a one-off. I don't think we've had anybody else request this in the, I don't know, however long V1 has been out. Time doesn't mean anything anymore after COVID. I'm not sure. I like the idea of being able to theme anything, you know. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's different thoughts. One thought is like I want to give some flexibility for people. I think this has showed up twice. I haven't seen like a third use case just yet. So I think I've closed one issue of someone requesting this type of feature. So this will be like the second time it's coming up again. So. And in those cases, it seems to be like a one-off thing. But because of the flexibility we talk about in this styling or this theming system in Chakra, I think we might want to either consider adding this or just like encourage the person to just like undo this one-off scenario themselves.
I was trying to see if I could find the previous issue.
Yeah, it's probably hiding somewhere.
Yep. Okay. I've got some labels here. Yeah. So how do you think we should proceed with this then?
Let's see. First time contributing, but here's a PR that should address this bug. Let's see what the PR looks like.
Pop that open. Okay, so this is a test showing that it works.
Yeah, so I'd say one thing I'll change here definitely would be the form control key. I think because of the way like we've tried to name other components, the highest level is always called the root, not like for example, if you check the accordion, sometimes it's called the container. This is one thing I'd love to change. But if you check the tabs component, let's just go through a couple of like multi-part type of components, see that we're sure. So you see that there's like a root here. Let's see, what other component do we have there? This doesn't exactly have like a root. Let's check let's just check through the list maybe. Yeah.
Overlay. It doesn't have one.
Progress. Let's check the progress component. It's just a track, the feed track. Select. Container, slider, select. Feed an icon. Is start component, maybe. Yeah, it seems not many components have these styles then. Yeah, so
It
this
looks like
is
most
more
things
like
have container.
yeah, since most things have container instead of root, so it's mostly a naming thing here. It's mostly like let's just keep to a uniform. Let's stick to like a much more uniform naming structure here. Form control seems to be the container of a couple of things. It can be the container for a label and some input control, which would be like checkbox, text fields, and all of those things. So we either call that container, or container seems to be the widely used. So that's an interesting idea there. So that's maybe one feedback I'd have if it's something, if it's what adding to Chakra UI itself.
Okay. Can add that as a suggestion here. We'll go with
Container.
Go with container for now.
Yeah, that's fine. Yes. Yeah, let's have that suggestion.
We mostly have a pattern of calling the root elements a container. Cool. Okay. So we can go ahead and do the same thing here. Container. And we can, like the idea of making this themable, but we need to follow the existing naming pattern for the theme key. Okay, I'll request changes. And boom.
Nice.
Label, and we're done.
Sweet.
Cool. Let's keep moving forward. Close more tabs. Let's take a look at issues. Or do you want to?
Yeah, let's just see one more. What's going on with docs/daily workflow? I'm curious.
Okay, so it moved so part of our pipeline for building the website, if we look at our package JSON file, is, wow, there's so many things in here. So docs build will run avatars gen and search meta gen.
Yeah.
And these are scripts that we have here in the repo. Avatars.
Yeah.
So this.
So what
script,
are these used for? Just for the sake of like people are watching, like, what the heck is this?
Right. So these two go out, and this file will actually build the avatars for our Open Collective sponsors, our Twitter caption, or our Twitter testimonials that we have on the site, and avatars for, I believe, the team.
Yeah, So on the homepage of Chakra UI, we have a couple of like a grid of pictures, right? So of all the sponsors and contributors, I think. So if you scroll down, there you see like, yeah, this one's for everyone here, and also when you scroll down, there's also like a place that has like tons of like, yeah, these testimonials here, all of these avatars right here. We need to optimize them ahead of time, and these ones as well.
Oh, look at that. Like, very fancy. That's how much time and effort and money you've put into this. So that script will generate this. We also have a, actually, no, get search meta.
Get search meta, yeah.
You'll have to explain what this is doing. I don't know what this is.
Yeah, essentially what this is doing is to build out what we use for the search. So we have like this script generates a JSON file that mirrors the HTML structure of the search. That's why when you search here, the search is close to instant, right? If we had to do like make it some sort of API call or use like Algolia, I'm still trying to use Algolia anyway. We still plan to do that, but in the meantime, we just have this like quick, fast system to just search through the major headings for all the pages in the docs.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so that's what it does. Yeah.
What we do when we build the site then is we're generating the avatars, then we're generating the search meta, and then we're actually building the docs. So I believe what this does is it moves the responsibility for running these to GitHub Actions, and it will run these each day and then commit them to the repository so that we don't have to do this as part of our build process. It doesn't have to be done locally, I don't believe. So this would make it a cron job action. So what this means is it would run once per day. It would go through, generate the avatars, generate the search meta, and then it would actually commit them and push them back up to the repo.
Interesting.
Which I think it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I've never had to use like GitHub Actions with some sort of cron. So it'd be cool to see. It'd be cool to test this out. I think that's what I think. It's really interesting, and I really like improvements to like the workflow. Like, I mean, any improvements we can get to just make the workflow and development experience a pleasure, I think that's like highly welcome. So I'd say this is what looking into, but I'll probably leave this for you to figure out.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Yeah, I will revisit this later when I have a little more time. But cool, yeah, I kind of like this idea, taking it out of the manual work, out of what we do when we're building the website, because that can already take quite a bit of time. So I think it's a cool
idea. And I think it also like relieves Vercel of some pressure or some issues, like because when each time we push to main, Vercel has to run all of its processes, and if we can just move that to GitHub Actions, then Vercel doesn't have to run any of these because GitHub Actions undo that automatically, and Vercel can just do docs build only. So that's pretty interesting as well.
Very much so. Yeah, let's look at a couple issues. Maybe we can find something that we actually want to. Maybe we can fix. That was bumped because I just added the labels.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the second issue there. Aspect ratio is forcing its image video to behave like object fit cover. Yeah. So when I set the image object fit to contain, expect it to happen. But when I render it inside an aspect ratio, it always behaves like object fit cover there. Let's see. So this is cover for a couple of reasons, but let's just check what's happening. Yeah, so in essence, it's always cover instead of like allowing the user control that. Interesting.
Yeah, so the first one has cover. This one has contain.
Yeah. So this cover style is coming from the aspect ratio itself. So it's really a tricky one, honestly, because there are three use cases for the aspect ratio component, right? Anyway, you can find more use cases, but the common ones, like you want to have an image stay strict to some aspect ratio. You want to have a video stay true to some aspect ratio, and then you also want to have like an iframe. So think of it more like Google Maps. So if you wanted to embed Google Maps on your page, you would want to maybe apply some aspect ratio to have that be responsive, right? So these are the three use cases, and sort of forcing that to sort of obviously, I don't think it applies to object fit. I'll have to check, but assuming that like object fit cover makes all of those three use cases just work out of the box. And I'm a little bit skeptical to make this change because I'll consider it a breaking one for people who use aspect ratio component across your code bases. So I'll keep this as something that we should mark as maybe a potential visual breaking change if we tweak this. So I wouldn't want to touch this one. Very careful this time because the last time I checked the npm stats, we had like close to like 3 million people using Chakra. So so you don't want to make a tiny change and then it's like you break everything and it's not working anymore. So let's be careful.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So maybe we can add that as like as some extra thoughts here and respectfully close this one.
Okay. Let's that's funny. Side tangent. So we have new templates for issues using a new feature from GitHub, which lets us have forms. So like with this bug report, it's actually a form where you have to fill in the inputs.
Mm-hmm.
And we have these checkbox forms here. Because of the way GitHub works, you can choose your operating system, but it actually considers them as tasks, which I just noticed.
That's weird.
I will follow up and finish this reply in a little bit just to save some time.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. What do you want to look at next?
So there's this issue here. There's just like latency in checkbox while changing check state in storybook only. In my mind, because the storybook only is like, why do I have to? As long as it doesn't happen in production or in development in your machine, maybe it's not. Maybe we don't need to. We don't need to like check this at all. Just yeah, interesting. I had some more context here.
Occurs when running storybook locally. If you're building the storybook and serving, everything works fine. Looks like this might be something more on the storybook end, but would be great if someone with a little more knowledge of the repo, some of the versions in question can confirm, give their 2 cents.
Let's keep this open.
Yeah, I'll assign that to myself because I have some decent amount of storybook knowledge, so I can look into this and see if I can figure out what's going on.
Okay. What version of
ID mismatch?
What version of Chakra is this one? Is that's the first question that comes to mind.
1.6.4, everything was fine up until 1.6.3.
This is one weird problem because it seems like we keep trying to fix it, and like someone else for some other universe shows up and say like it's not gone. And we currently have this running on the docs. Like we have a Next.js example to test this one.
Yeah, so this is a repeat issue we've had for a while with Next.js, where we need to generate unique IDs for elements, but when you're using SSR, right, those IDs can have a mismatch if you don't do things correctly. So we have gone back and forth with different solutions. We tried the use ID hook from Reach UI, which came with its own issues, I believe.
Yeah, it does.
So this is probably kind of a nasty one.
It's a little bit of a nasty one, honestly, because if I remember correctly, the solution from Reach UI actually waits for the server handoff to be complete, which means you don't get any ID on the server side. Then it waits until the entire iteration process kicks in, and then it tries to assign the ID at that point, right? So at that time, someone opened an issue that, hey, the ID shows as undefined on the server side, and why is it showing? There should be a number there. It should not be undefined. And then it's like, okay, let's try to see if there's a way to consistently generate an ID between sort of like the server and the client to keep that consistent. I think I did some digging into like React area to see and also Radix UI to learn from them, see how can we get this working here. I think what we have seems to work pretty well. I'm just not sure like in what cases that this actually breaks. So what I would recommend is maybe you can go to your repo. Let's go to the code itself. And I mean, yeah, if you go to VS Code, I think there's a folder called examples, and it's like in the examples folder, I have the let's shrink everything here. Next.js, pages, and we have auto ID. So that auto ID there is meant to be like the test for use ID. So if you can just run this project, and let's test it, see if you run into any issues here. Do you have to run a build? Because it's been a while. I mean, can't remember. I think you have to. But let's see.
Do I need to?
Because it might be using like an old build there.
I think it's yeah, we can serve it if you want to serve it instead.
Yeah. Yeah, this maybe we don't need to run the next build though, but it's fine. Let's see. Let's test it against production, see if there's any issues.
Start not served. Okay, so
yeah, so let's open the console, see if there's any warning that shows up.
no warning here. Oops.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to run into like. Can't seem to find a way to reproduce this issue after the refactoring. So let's see if it shows up here.
Let me open this in a separate
window
here. Huh.
There's no issue, right?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
So it's really weird, honestly. So I mean, two things I would recommend. So one, let's see. I think it's running next start while you see the error with
next dev. So we do need to try that over here. Let's try.
Yeah, let's try
dev and see what it does.
Because I've found a couple of times that when you have this ID mismatch, you need to delete the Next.js cache, that .next folder, so that like it sort of cleans out everything, and you get like the real sort of the real issue. You can really expose if there's an issue or not. But right now, anytime you run endev in our project, we make sure we delete the .next folder. So maybe it's something we want to recommend to everyone there to attempt to delete the Next.js folder, because once there's a mismatch one time, I think there's some sort of caching thing going on that you probably want to bust out of, right? So as a recommendation, I would say let's get them to maybe delete the .next folder and try again. This we can reproduce this, so that's a tag that we want to put.
I think there's more comments in here that we should respond to, but we can do that later. Looks like there's
yes. Yeah, for sure.
Gordon Freeman has joined our chat. I am a huge Half-Life fan. I spent a significant amount of time playing it, so it's an honor to have Gordon Freeman in our stream here. Glad you're here, Gordon. Okay, let's see. Null is valid theme property. Would be great to override the default Chakra UI theme if null is a valid style property. We could use null to override font size, line height values.
Nope.
Okay, so this is a TypeScript issue, it looks like.
No, it's not. It's not. I think
that.
it's kind of just it's trying to propose an API to sort of like switch up the sort of nullify or erase some styles by just setting the values to null and cloaking it as undefined when it's actually null.
That's weird because he says that they say that, but then
they say it would like to use a null to override these values.
But then it's saying currently I have to do this. We're using unknown and as undefined, and then proposes it's the same thing just without the TypeScript pieces.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. I'm not sure I want to go down this route here because the first fundamental question would be: is null a valid like style value? I mean, from the roots of emotion itself. Right. So, I mean, I think undefined is probably a better measure of the absence of a value instead of like null. I mean, I'm not sure how React style attribute manages the null value if it actually overrides it or assume it doesn't exist. But maybe something worth checking a quick example. But this doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll sign myself and take a look. I'm going to give it a TypeScript tag, even though it may not be what we're looking at here, just for a little context. I think this was the next one, right? Drawer uses default color.
I think I would love to check out. I don't know what this issue is. Probably doesn't grab my attention so much. I think I'd love to check out the system UI specifications versus styled system. I want to see what's going on here.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. I think this is more of a discussion, though. Possibly.
So this topic is very interesting to me, but as a newcomer, I'm confused by the similar sounding name because like team UI, system UI, like what's going on here? What's the difference there? So definitely it's a discussion. I think one detailed answer would sort of answer that question there. So let's convert that to a discussion.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, so we're getting some interesting comments about like the stream quality. So it's currently showing up as 722p instead of it being like super crisp, like 1080 or like 4K kind of thing. So I'm really curious to know why. But hey, everyone, this is just our first stream, so maybe in the next stream we'll try to figure it out.
Yeah, need to experiment a little bit. We're doing some science here. All right, so we have 20 minutes left. Do you want to?
Yeah, so I want to go through like the pull requests. So now that we have 20 minutes, I would like us to go through the pull requests, see if there's any simple pull requests we can sort of merge in, and then just go for the release.
Let's see. I don't think so. I think most things, when they're approved, we just merge them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Can you see?
Interesting.
Let's see. Approved review. Yeah, we don't have any that are approved and not merged.
Okay, cool. Let's in that case, let's just check through. Let's walk everyone through like what the release process looks like. Um, um, I'm happy to just do like a quick description of that. One of the things we try to do is to like check for this version packages PR here. So this is managed by ChangeSet. I'll let Mark explain a bit more about ChangeSet because it's literally the ChangeSet ninja in our team. Um, so when we merge this PR in, one of the things that happens is ChangeSet to sort of like the GitHub actions would run, and ChangeSet would automatically sort of like publish new updates. So we literally don't have to do anything. It's all handled by ChangeSet, which is awesome. And then the second thing we try to do before we merge that PR in is to open like another PR for the changelog, which we have a central changelog.md file. And that's what we're going to quickly do together now. So we're going to just update that file, open a new PR to update the changelog. And when we merge the version packages, that would publish new updates. And then we merge in, when that's done and the new updates have been published, then we merge in the changelog. So everyone gets to see a public log of the changes. All right. So I guess the key question here is like, what are the notable changes here that we need to sort of pay attention to? And the way I always recommend doing this though is to go to like VS Code. Like it looks so clunky here, so I'll just go to VS Code, check the change set folder there, and just look through like all of these open MD markdown files. And I just use this to form the use it to update the changelog file. So if you want to maybe open the changelog file to the right or something, I don't know how I want to do that. But if you want to open the changelog.md, yeah. So here we just create a new, follow the same format as the existing ones, and just tag a new date. I tell you, would love to. Yeah, Copilot is really messy.
Yeah. It's like suggesting dates that aren't even remotely relevant. So we have CLI. I have no idea. 1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the. I feel like we just like didn't even explain change sets at all, really.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
So like,
yeah.
Change sets is it's a tool. Oh, PR from Gordon. So what you can do when as you're going through time and you're developing, right? You are making changes to the code, and those changes in many cases have an effect on your users, where they need to be able to understand what it is that's changing for each package and how it affects them. So what change sets lets you do is when you create a change that affects a user, you can create a change set file. And what that file has is two pieces. There is the front matter, which specifies the package that this change relates to, or it could be multiple packages, and the type of change. So in this case, we have a patch. This means it's just fixing a bug. It could be minor or major. Major would be for breaking changes. Minor is just for adding features and functionality. The second piece is a summary of what the change is. So in this case, it was fixed a circular dependency, which was causing warnings when bundling Chakra with rollup. So as you're going through time and making changes, you also add change sets so that when you get to the point that you want to release all your packages, you don't have to go back through all of the PRs and say, what did I do? What would they care about? You have all these things that have already been documented as you went, right? So it's a tool that allows you to build up all these messages and the changes. And then when you actually version it, it will combine them all together, determine which versions go where, and merge them into a changelog. Unfortunately, there is no global changelog. What change sets does is it creates a separate changelog for each package, which is great. But with Chakra, we have a bunch of packages, but really they could be considered one thing, right? Like Chakra UI React. So that's what the challenge comes about, where we're doing this manually in changelog.md. We don't have a way to automate that yet. So we'll get there. Yeah, Team Vim. I love Vim. I can't I can't do anything without them at this point. That's how far I am. So yeah, we can just manually do these for now. Got
Yeah,
this is fix.
Yeah, it's just like a bug fix there. Yeah, that's fine. Next one. Yeah, maybe we just use the breadcrumb at the top. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So, okay. So like a first. Yeah.
Feature.
I don't think I have a way to. Yeah, I have Rocket, literally the app, but I think I have it turned off for VS Code. What? Okay.
Awesome.
And have the utils package.
Yeah, so we have a comment that says, "Love Chakra UI. You awesome guys. Thanks for your hard work." Thank you, X Neval. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But really, thank you so much for that comment.
All right. We are so close.
Yeah, I really like it when like the changes are not so much. But when you have like close to like 10 to 15 markdown change sets, like that's quite some work. Yeah, so like sometimes I tend to sort of just like delegate that to Esther and her team. Yeah, so shout out to Esther for helping us with like this maintaining this change log, because I find it quite daunting.
Very much so. Okay. All right. I think that's. Yeah, there's only 4. Which seems right. There's. Yeah. All right. So. I need to. Do you normally create a commit for this? Or
yeah, I tend to open a PR for this. So we merge this after the version packages and the GitHub Actions is done. Yeah.
Put that here. Okay, can I go ahead and merge this one then?
Yeah, I think that's completely fine.
Okay, so one last note before we merge this. If you look at files changed, this is literally a collection of everything that has been done since the last version. So if you're ever trying to find like a collection of all the commits, this is the PR to look for, the version packages PR. All right, let's do it. So when we merge this, we have a GitHub action that is going to run, and that is going to release all of these changes by publishing them to NPM. So this will take a little while. I don't think we'll be able to finish it on the stream.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to finish it on the stream for sure. Awesome. So we have roughly 10 minutes to go. So let's just take some questions, or let's just interact with everyone else in comments. Since we've done quite some maintaining already. I was looking forward to writing some code live on stream, but we'll keep that for maybe next week. So we'll try to keep this as a weekly thing, see if we can keep up. Otherwise, we just like tweak this schedule a little bit, but we plan to do this regularly for sure. Awesome. So we have a comment from Satyam Kumar. It says, planning to use Chakra UI for startup. Thanks for making this UI library and keep improving it. Thank you so much, Satyam. We're definitely doing our best, and we'll We'd love you to use it for your startup and share any feedback or thoughts, and also consider sponsoring the project. Like that would also be very useful when you use Chakra UI for sure. Thank you.
There's a link to our open collective, which is where we handle our sponsorships.
Nice. Okay, awesome. So let's just keep the channel open for questions. So if you guys have like any questions you want to ask us or anything you'd like us to talk about, feel free to drop it in the chat. I'll put it on the screen and we'll try our best to answer them. Otherwise, we'll just continue on maintaining stuff here.
Cool. Awkward silence. Yeah, is there anything that you want to like you've been working on that you want to show or talk about?
Yeah, no, sure.
The worst question. What are your stances on adding a date picker component?
Oh, I haven't seen that question yet. For some weird reason, my browser keeps sort of hanging. Do you want to put that question up? Maybe just you see the comments on the top right, and you can put that up. Oh yeah, I can see it now. You can see it now. Yeah, so you can switch back. Fine.
Did I?
You can switch back to maybe yeah that's fine. Yeah. Awesome.
I didn't mean anything negative towards you, Jeremy. It's just it's a question we've had quite a bit, and it's kind of painful to think about. My view on it is it's such an important thing, but the browser doesn't do anything at all to make it easy for us to build our own custom date picker that you can then use. All the browsers have different implementations. Safari's is terrible. Doesn't even handle local date time, which is like one of the cooler things that Chrome and Safari or Chrome and Firefox can handle for us. So it's really a mess. And if you've done anything with dates in the past, you know how terrible dates are. It's just a giant mess of things and logic to handle all those things. So it's the kind of thing where I feel like if we were to build our own date picker, it would be kind of a rabbit hole, right? Like where we try to do something minimal, but there's an infinite number of things that you can do with dates and times. And so it becomes a thing of we're constantly adding things to it, to the point that I think that a date picker would grow to be larger than everything else in Chakra combined. So I think it's good. It would be good for us to have it and provide it, but I'm also very wary because it's just like the time and capacity that would be required to do this and do it right and also keep up with it over time would be beyond what I think we're capable of at this point.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Thanks for adding that. I think I share like mostly the same perspective there. There's quite some complexity when it comes to designing a date picker. I don't know this complexity, but just looking through the code of existing solutions and see how they implement it, I mean, date pickers can be quite overwhelming, and it just makes me assume that there's quite some complexity there. Of which, I mean, of course, we have to admit that it's quite complex to build. And I would say that like we're currently like torn between like adding new stuff to Chakra UI v1 and trying to drive towards the future of Chakra UI itself. I'm not sure if you guys have seen the video, but I'd recommend maybe checking out the video that I made with Lee Robinson from For Sale to talk about the future of Chakra UI. And we've sort of been in between this mix. Do we still like stick to like the React paradigm and try to just add as many components and keep adding a date picker, pagination, or anything we can think about? Or do you want to take a step back to properly model like all of our components using state machines and actually make them available, I mean, for both our React team and our Vue team? Because right now we are having to duplicate lots of the logic, lots of the use effect and use layout effect that's happening in React. We have to do double work to keep that in sync with Vue, right? And I really feel for Jonathan. I also praise Jonathan for all the hard work he has done so far in the Vue community. But at the same time, I think we want to be a little bit more thoughtful because the date picker has an interesting complexity that I don't want us to have to duplicate across projects. So I would love to keep that more as a project, something that we'll definitely want to add when we move completely to the machines idea. So we can have a proper state machine that works across React and Vue, and even Svelte and any other possible JavaScript library that supports Xstate, essentially. So it's a mix of both. I mean, I wouldn't say yes, I wouldn't say no, but we're still exploring the possibilities there. So give us some time. Let's see. And just one extra thought would be like I'm gonna put up. So this is like a headless date picker that my friend Chris came out. I mean, sort of found, and I think I found it a while ago as well. So this is definitely like a potential solution you could explore. So this library is called DayZ. It's sort of like an headless approach to building date pickers. So you can take this library and merge that with Chakra UI, and you should be able to sort of build your own date picker and use the theming capabilities of Chakra to also like form your own there. And I'm sure there are other examples of like headless date pickers out there. At least in the meantime, you have something to use, and then we could definitely take some time to think about the design of the date picker API. Yeah. Okay, so I hope I did a good job there explaining. Let's see. Awesome. So let's see if there's any new questions.
Could you explain minifying the CSS?
I'm not sure what I don't think I have enough context to answer that question on Graham. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. But if you want to share a bit more context before we sort of wrap up the stream, I'm happy to explain or share my own thoughts. Yeah. Yeah. In the meantime, I'll probably just answer a question mark there. So I'm currently like I'm currently trying to like drive us through to the like UI state machines idea slowly. It's been quite some work just to figure out like what piece I want to go after first, or at least set up the structure for that first, and then we can have the whole team sort of drive towards that, right? So, like I mentioned yesterday, there are like 4 different things we want to focus on. So, we have the state machines, we have the styled system, which is the theming and the style props and all of that. And then we have the motion engine, and then we have accessibility. So, I've been thinking of like which of these 4 parts should we at least release or at least get something out there first, right? So. I think the one I'm most fascinated by is this state machines aspect. So I've been like sort of putting together some private work of like, let me try to experiment or take different approaches to this state machine idea, try to build out most of the components we currently have in V1 using the state machines. I think I'm making good progress. I think it would be like a separate repo of its own, and then would most likely just publish that as its own artifact there pretty soon, so that we don't have to wait until V2, which I don't even know when that's going to happen. So instead of like procrastinating and keeping V2 for too long, it's more like just ship what you have and just put it out there, and then you figure out what to do afterwards. Yeah, so we have one question. We have one question here that says, "I was also wondering if a range slider would be easy or hard to add."
Yeah, we had literally talked about building that on this stream, so maybe that could be the focus of our next stream, and we can discover the answer to that question together.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing I've done though is like I'll try to sort of premeditate the kind of things I would have to do to sort of support this range slider component, and it seems to be quite interesting. And I mean, we can be, as developers, we can be very terrible at estimating. So let me just wear that hat for a second and say like it seems to be like semi easy to do kind of thing, because we have the building blocks that we need to make that happen. So maybe we can make that a core focus for the next stream. See how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining the stream today. And I'm really excited. At least we had some people. Initially, I was thinking maybe like, I mean, are you sure people are going to show up here? I mean, but I mean, it's really good to see everyone here. So asking questions and joining in the process. Thank you so much. Mark, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I just want to say that I'm happy to be here. If there's any way we can help, you can join us in Discord. You can talk to us on GitHub discussions, on Twitter. We're both super nerdy and available pretty often, so feel free to shoot us questions or anybody on the team.
Awesome.
Thanks y'all for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining everyone, for joining us on the stream today. We'll try to keep this up again. Maybe next week we'll make this happen again. And hopefully it'll be more fun and we'll have much more higher quality video and live stream there to show all of you. See you all next week.
There will be cats. I'll bring one of my cats. He's a little loud, so I had to lock him in my room. But see y'all. Bye.
Bye, everyone.